here. We are here. Welcome back to the Coach's Huddle. It's your boy, the Coach, where the field meets family, and we're back for another regular scheduled installment of the Neutral Zone. It's been a while. I got my boy Chunder Boy with me. We got a lot to talk about. We haven't spoken since the season has ended. We haven't spoken. You didn't even pop in for the last watch show party. Understandably so.
I had to hide for a couple weeks, bro. I couldn't do it.
Definitely.
It was too much.
But we've got so much to talk about. But before we get into it, how are you, Chunder Boy? What's going on, boy?
I'm fantastic, bro. And by the way, we do use regularly scheduled very loosely. Just
hey, it's been snowing. It's been we got a lot crazy, going on. Man. It's been crazy. But look, man, I'm glad
off season's coming up, man.
Off season,
you know how much I love the off season. I'm a nerd,
yeah,
and so I like the off season. I mean, not as much as the regular season, because obviously they're playing football. That's better, but like, it's real close. It's a 1A, 1B for me. I love the off season because I get to nerd out and geek out.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome, bro. Like, we got one more week of we have one more week of actual football left, right? That's basically it. And then after that, we get to get into the offseason. We get to talk about draft. We get to talk about free agency. We get to talk about money. It's gonna get crazy, and I'm excited to get into it. The Niners definitely left us a lot to be excited about moving into the season. That's a debate within of itself. Yep. Whether or not some fans are excited about the Niners finishing off their season, or whether or not they don't feel good about the season. One narrative that was pressed early, as soon as the season was over, is that the Niners were going to have a tough time refilling what seemed to be a very impressive coaching staff. The way they performed this season. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest guys that we lost as far as that coaching staff is concerned is defensive coordinator, now head coach of the Tennessee Titans, Robert Saleh, and who filled his position is defensive coordinator, former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, Raheem Morris. I'm not going to give me your instant reaction. Give me 30 seconds. I'm going to go 30 seconds, and then we're going to dip into something else. I'm going to share a video with you to kind of give you a pulse of just kind of how everybody feels. So I'm going to let you go first. I'm going to go ahead and get behind you, and then we'll finish off with the video, and then we'll really get into the topic.
I would have preferred that they go with Gus Bradley. Obviously, the one that we all wanted was the defensive coordinator from Cleveland in Schwartz. So that would have been the best option available. But I would have gone with Gus Bradley over Raheem Mostert. And the primary reason is a lot of people remember Gus Bradley as the defensive coordinator for the Raiders for 1 year and the Colts for 3 years. And those teams' defenses weren't very good. But look at the rosters that he was dealing with on the defensive side of the ball for both of those teams. Now go look at when he actually had talent when he was the Seattle Seahawks defensive coordinator. They started out 24th, then 27th, then they go third, and then first overall best scoring defense in football in his last season there. He goes to Jacksonville. They don't have a ton of talent, but he still has much better defenses than some of the defensive units that Raheem Morris has put together when Raheem Morris has had better players. The best season that Raheem Morris has ever had as a defensive coordinator is when he was with the Rams in their Super Bowl season. Mm-hmm. The defense that he took over was the number one scoring defense in football. The next season, they were 17th. I'm so sorry. They were 9th in scoring and 17th, I think, in yards allowed. So he took the number one defensive football and made them average. And that's with Aaron Donald. That's with Jalen Ramsey. That's with getting Von Miller halfway through the season, who had 5 sacks in 8 games.
30 seconds.
I would much rather have the guy who has proven that if you give him some talent, he'll give you a top 10 defense. Raheem Morris has never proven that.
Okay. I like the hire. Okay.
I do. Sorry. Go ahead.
I like the hire, particularly because no matter who comes into this building, we're not thinking about this with the right context. We're living and we're dying with Kyle Shanahan.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the game.
Yep.
Okay. And if you don't come to terms with that as a 49ers fan or follower or, expert, then you're missing the plot. This is all about who is going to be here that runs the defense that Kyle feels comfortable with, but also has enough respect, all right, and cachet to be able to bring different elements of defense onto this team that we haven't seen before. That's the point, okay?
Yeah.
The point isn't to go get the best of the best that's going to be different, that's going to be cutting edge, that's going to thrust us into relevancy, that's going to get rid of all of the problems that we have, that's going to right all of the wrong. No, that's not. And really, the reason why I feel this way is because there's so many elements of this football team under this regime that we've seen the same thing. Look at the offensive line. They have a type. No matter how much we scream and beat our chests and stand on the table, they got a type. You know what I'm saying? Look at where their money goes. They got a type.
Yep.
They go heavy on defensive line. Then on offense, they put it into their receivers and their skill guys. They got a type. You can't tell me that over 10 years, you're not picking up the trends. Okay? So
if you're not, that's a you problem. If you haven't figured it out by now, that's a you problem. Because it's
tired
not
of
complicated.
it. Yeah, and at one point, and at some point, it's just disingenuous.
Yeah.
If you got a little bit of recall and you can remember things and you know how to kind of string things together, it's not rocket science. If you're still pushing the same issues with this team about not going to go get the cutting edge tip of the spear candidate that's supposed to knock our socks off, I got news for you. We're never going to see a candidate like that as long as Kyle's here. Because guess who the cutting edge tip of the spear, shining bright star is of this coaching staff?
It's Kyle Shanahan.
It's Kyle. You think Jim Schwartz is going to come in here and turn it all around? Not on Kyle's watch. Get real. So let's just listen to this. All right? We got my man, respected former safety, San Francisco 49ers safety, Dante Whitner, and we're just going to hear his thoughts on the hire. All right? Let's just go ahead and just hear what my guys got to say. All right? Because right now, for where we're standing, look, you just got to come to terms with it. You really do. So here goes my guy. Let's hear him.
People achieve success without merit. I truly believe that the 49ers will be looking for their next defensive coordinator, mainly because they hired based on friendship and they went with the safe bet here. Now you say he might have earned it, Whitner. He might have earned it. His track record as a defensive back coach in Washington, 30th ranked pass defense, 26, 28, 24. He goes and get nepotized again in Atlanta with his college coach, Dan Quinn. 250 plus yards given up, 19th ranked. Then Dan Quinn gets fired and you assume the role bottom ranked in defense again that year. 2021 comes, McVay makes a call and gives him the responsibility of taking on Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey in the number one defense in 2021.
Right.
None of it was earned. Cool. None of it was merit.
None of it was earned. None of it was merit. It's cool as long as you can hear the audio. That's all I care about.
Yep. Audio is good.
All right, so we heard what Dante Whitner's had to say, and he's basically saying that none of what Raheem Morris has done in the league is earned or merit. All of his, we're painting in broad strokes. All of his success was given to him, or he's lucked up on Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, and was given a loaded defense and backed by a loaded offense, and he even underperformed with them. And as far as Dante Whitner would have us believe, Raheem Morris is just basically a nepo baby who just found his next lily pad to jump onto of likely candidates. So, like, for me, you can't nepo baby your way into a head coaching job. I just you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. I don't believe it. I really don't. I think either you know how to do your job or you don't, or you get ousted. Some guys get put in head coaching positions that are coordinators. I believe that Raheem Morris is a coordinator. I think that's just what it is. If Robert Saleh, as much as we respect Robert Saleh, if he doesn't make it happen in Tennessee, is he still a head
for life?
Come on, man.
Yep.
What are we doing here? You only get but so many cracks at the apple, bro. It is what it is. So, go ahead.
So if I was steel manning this, right? 'Cause I've made it clear. I think that Gus Bradley track record is much better. I would have preferred Gus Bradley. However, if I was steel manning the Raheem Morris pick, because I don't not like it. I just think that they had a better option available and didn't choose it because Kyle Shanahan wanted his friend. But there's a few things here that really make this potentially a really good hire. Number one, the weakest part of our defense is our secondary, and it's his strength. So we're bringing somebody in whose strength suits our weaknesses. If you remember the Tampa Bay defense when he was the head coach in Tampa Bay, their secondary was awesome. They had Aqib Talib. They had Rondé Barber towards the end of his career, but still picking off 3-4 balls a year, right? Their secondary was solid. And then when they got Gerald McCoy, their defense actually even got a little bit better, even though he didn't play. He only played like 8 games his second season. When you so Raheem Morris, their defense overall wasn't very good, but their secondary always was pretty good. When he's the defensive coordinator in Atlanta, what people seem to forget about, they look at the rankings of, like, I think it's like 20th and 19th, like 20th in yards given up and 19th in points given up. But that was one of the most prolific offenses in the history of football. And if you're scoring that many points, there's a lot of garbage time, yards, and points that get scored. That was probably a top 10 defense that year that just had a bunch of garbage time yards and points that drug down their overall rankings. This is why context is so important with stuff. You can't just look at 20th and 19th and say, oh, he sucked, because Grady Jarrett was a beast as a young player that year. The safety that they drafted, I think, out of Georgia, Neal, that dude was, I mean, all over the place that season. Had some rookie moments for sure, but played very, very well. That linebacker that they had played very, very well. That defense played exceptional. And until guys got gassed, midway through the third quarter, they were beating the crap out of a Tom Brady offense with that defense. So he has coordinated some good defenses. And you have the same situation with the Rams. Okay, yeah, he's got Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, and then, and they've got all this going. But let's not forget that was also one of the most prolific offenses in football. And so those numbers are probably not exactly how they turn out at the end of the season. So we have to give them credit where credit's due. And lastly, I'll say this before I, kick it back over to you.
Yeah.
The continuity of having the same defensive coordinator in the building year after year could be a really big deal for this defense, because we've had 5 coordinators in 5 years now. It's hard to develop young players. It's hard to draft and develop when there's no continuity on one side of the ball. There's no excuses for the young guys on the offensive side of the ball, but there's a little bit of, Renardo Green didn't really take a step that we thought he might. He showed a lot of promise as a rookie, and this year was kind of the same. He wasn't good, but he wasn't bad either. Same thing with several other players. They didn't seem to have a lot of progress this year, because it's hard when you're a young player and getting a new coordinator every year to make any real progress.
I agree with this super chat from Dimitar Dimitrov. Raheem Morris equals turnovers.
That I agree with too.
We were dead last in the league. Horrible. And the year before, not much better, bro. We don't get
Are you sure
picks.
We were dead last? Because the Jets literally didn't get an interception this year.
All right, the next
First team
thing.
in
Okay,
history.
what? All right, we won the toilet bowl. We won the toilet bowl, brother. Thanks.
We're near the bottom. We're near the bottom.
32 to 31. Now we're cooking. We gotta do some research on this now. Goodness, I think the Niners were really better at picks than people think they
not
were.
what I was
No,
saying.
bro. Like, come on, bro. What are you doing?
I just
You
had to point out the
stopped
Jets
my
set a
take
record
for
with,
that.
they had no picks the whole year.
Jesus Christ. Dead last in sacks. Thank you, Cosmo.
That's a fact.
All right, so what your last point is really one of my number one points, which is consistency. Let's say we do it the Dante Whitner way, right? And not even the Dante Whitner way. I don't even want to like put his name on this take because he's not the only one that feels this way, right? Not. He just articulated it. But let's do it that side of the coin. Let's do it their way. Let's say you get a burgeoning defensive coordinator that is like cutting edge. He's going to revamp the 49ers. And honestly, you're just going to get a redux of what the Niners have always been when we are at our best, which is we are a defensively led team. Right.
Facts.
So let's say we get a Jim Schwartz in here and he completely, turns everything around and the defense is new and we get young players in here in the whole nine. How long do you think Jim Schwartz is going to stay here?
Yep, because he's only had the one gig.
Who's going to run it when he's gone?
Exactly.
We're right back in the same hole, my dog.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'll go back to starting this whole debate with how I began with it starts and ends with Kyle, my G.
Yes.
All right. If Raheem Morris is a voice that Kyle listens to, but it's a different voice with a different perspective on what they do for defense, ergo the 34 defense that he ran in Atlanta versus the wide nine that all of us want to see, out of here, or at the very least, like tailored down, like it's going to be Raheem Morris. This is one thing you're going to get. You're going to understand. There is no coach that is coming in here that's going to make a real impact that Kyle does not trust. Period.
That's a good point.
So even if Kyle was to bring a guy in here that everybody went back and they did the whole rundown in his resume and like, oh my God, he was a part of this team and he was a part of this defense and he was an analyst on this team and he's been attached to so much success. For some reason, that stuff isn't nepotism when all of these guys get tied to all of these good teams and all of these good coaching staffs that they do. Right? That's something that they're never going to look at as nepotism when it's good. But when it's negative, you can look at it as, I like calling out a coach for nepotism is like calling out somebody's work history for you always worked with somebody you know. No shit, Sherlock. 90% of jobs are people that get hired are by referral.
It's a relationship industry.
People you know. Okay? In the job industry that I'm in today, good luck with your run-of-the-mill generic-ass resume. Good luck.
Yeah.
You better know somebody on the other side of that job rec, because if you don't, you're in Gen Pop, baby. So welcome to corporate America. He's not really saying anything here. He's just dressing it up in a really negative tone. All right? Like, honestly, like,
yeah.
I just don't get it sometimes. It's like news flash. Coaches hire people they know. Wow. Next thing he's going to tell us, he's going to sit down and break us all down and talk to us about coaching trees. Like, hey, man, I found this phenomena out. Did you know that there's coaching trees? Coaches that actually were coached under other people, and those guys, dare I say, hire each other, coach with each other, make sure that they have spots for each other on their staffs. Like, what type of gotcha moment is that? I don't get it.
If they put yourself in their shoes, what would you do If there's a guy that you know that you think is a really good coach, you guys work well together, and there's a position open and available and you can bring him in, so would everybody else. Like, I've never really understood the idea, it's never made all that much sense to me. The one thing I will add to the Raheem Mostert thing that does make me like this a little bit too is one of the things Raheem Mostert does really well. He is so well-rounded. He's kind of more of a jack of all trades and a master of none as a defensive coordinator because he's so well-rounded. He's been in so many schemes. He adjusts so well. His defenses are always better in November and December than they are in September and October.
Yeah, I mean, another thing too is like, let's just get into let's get into the nitty-gritty of what this hire means, right?
Yes.
James Prince Jr., the defensive end that got signed out of that got drafted by Atlanta, he had 10 sacks this season, okay, as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that we need with young guys being able to turn up that type of production and being able to get highlighted in the defense.
Yes.
The 34, being able to bring in a different look from the wide nine in situations, at the very least, making offenses prepare for more than one look. All right. Also, look, I said this yesterday on the show with Jesse, but I'll say it again. Now we have another pipeline of players in the NFL who may be apt to come to the 49ers. All right. The same way. I mean, if you look at it, we got our special teams coordinator because of hiring Robert Saleh.
That's
all right. We picked up players from the Jets because of Brent Boyer and Robert Saleh being here. Guess who is probably one of the baddest motherfucking free agents in the NFL right now? Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts. I know Linderbaum is nice. I don't think we'll do Linderbaum.
That's the Ravens.
But
God, I hope we do.
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts.
I don't know.
Really
we may have an inside track. We may have an inside track with Kyle Pitts if him and Raheem Morris had a really good relationship.
Yeah.
While they were there. Now, if they didn't, we're screwed. But I'm just saying, it's there.
That would be a crazy combo to start running out, especially like 3 tight end packages where your third tight end is Jake Tonjes in the routes. Like, they could really, I mean, Kyle Shanahan has, whether or not Kyle Shanahan actually does it is another thing entirely, but he certainly is capable of putting together the kind of offense that utilizes 3 tight end packages very well.
Sometimes, man, this is why there's times when the chat reminds you when you were wrong, but it's so sweet when the chat reminds you when you were right.
That's right.
I was so hardcore on James Pierce Jr. and Walter Nolan, bro. I wanted these dudes, man, bad.
Yeah,
Listen,
I thought Pierce
I don't have buyer's remorse.
But he's definitely he's got a really good career ahead of him.
The reason why I liked James Pierce Jr. so much is that he got so much better year by year. Yeah. Like even at Tennessee, he got so much better year by year. And honestly,
Tennessee
he was
or Clemson?
Tennessee.
Younger
player. I like his length. And he came in with so many rush moves as a rookie. I was like, this dude can rush the passer now. Like, this dude is ready. So, congrats to them. But, hey, give me your final take on this. Raheem Morris, is this a new direction or is it a buddy hire? And you can't say both.
It's a buddy hire. That doesn't mean it won't work.
I like that. You found a way to say both in a really creative way. I like that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, game recognized game. I'm not mad at that. I'm going to say new direction because 90% of all coaching hires are buddy hires.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, for him to say like it's a nepotism hire, a nepo baby hire would constitute that Raheem Morris is not good at his job. And like that's why it's a slippery slope to say that it's kind of like you got hired because, you know, Kyle knows you. It's like, wait a minute. So let's get this straight. So Raheem Morris was now. This is something that I also want to bring up too. You gotta kind of put some respect on Raheem Morris's name too. Raheem Morris was a head coach at 32 years old.
Yes.
Okay, like one of the youngest. Was Kyle even 32 by the time he was? How old was Kyle when he got the job?
34.
He's been here almost 10
Might have
years.
been 36, but 34.
Yeah.
I think he's 44 now. He's going his 10th season.
Yeah, bro. Like you got to give my man. Some
I
slack,
believe
bro.
McVay was the youngest at, I think, 31.
No, and Raheem was 33. Let me check that. He was 33.
I think
when he
McVay
got
was the
head
youngest.
coaching job. Yeah, I just look. For me, the guy's had 3 head coaching. He's had 3 head coaching spots. He's been in the league since 2009. I respect his cachet. I think that Raheem Morris is competent. I think he knows really good ball.
Competence a really good way to put it. Competence a really good way to put it.
One thing that you have to understand about Raheem Morris too. Raheem Morris was also a part of that defense that fucking whooped our ass in the NFC Championship game when we had Jimmy G in 2020, if you remember that. No, 2021. When we went to the NFC Championship game and lost
that
to
was the year.
Rams.
Yeah, that was the year they won the championship.
Yeah, that was Raheem Morris's defense, by the way.
Yeah.
So let's give it a little bit of respect. Now, I will close with this. This is something that nobody's really brought up. We can talk about Raheem Morris's defenses. And we can talk about what he's done thus far. But just to keep it 1,000, if you really want to go with the last time we saw Raheem Morris, we ran for over 200 yards on that defense.
Yeah.
That's just facts. What was the Atlanta game?
And this team did not run the ball well up to that point. That was the first time we even scored a rushing touchdown, I think.
Yeah. I'm trying to get the stats up now. I'll tell you, man, I respect Raheem Morris. I respect what they're going to do. I think that he brings a different wrinkle into the building that we haven't had on defense in a while. I love what Robert Saleh does on defense, but I do think he's too conservative. I think there were times during the season where he, by his own admission, he admitted that he did not adjust. He was too conservative. We played way too off. One thing about Raheem Morris is that he blitzes. All right. We're going to see a big uptick in blitzing while he's here. And I think that Raheem Morris is also going to find a way to get us some turnovers, man. That's what I really want. One thing this is my last point. This offense is still taking over the NFL. All right, it's matriculating everywhere. We already know that Kubiak, the Raiders are about to have this offense.
That's right.
Okay, like everybody is running this offense. You think Seattle's not going to find somebody to fill what Kubiak has done, or you think they're going to put in a whole new offense? No, they're going to run our offense. If there is any defensive coordinator that intrinsically knows this offense inside and out, it is Raheem Morris. He served as an offensive assistant, receivers coach on this offense in 2016 in Atlanta with Kyle when he was then the OC.
Yep.
So I'm telling you, if you want complimentary football, if you want something on the field that's going to make sense and that we're going to be able to have the best guy on the sideline that understands what basically 40% of the NFL is running now, it's going to be Raheem Morris. So I'm comfortable with the pick. I know you think it's a buddy hire. I think that it just so happens that you hire people that you know. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry. I got to speak closer into the mic. My bad. But I'm not mad at the hire, bro.
So to be clear, I'm not mad at it. I don't think it's a bad hire. And I think there's some real potential in different areas. I think that there was a better option available.
Mm-hmm. Also, too, God, I want to get rid of this topic, but you just keep saying stuff that jogs my memory. Also, too, let's just say by next week after the Super Bowl, we still don't have a defensive coordinator. What do you think the coaches? What do you think the Niners will be saying? Do you know how long we waited to pick up Robert Saleh last season? We hired him at the bitter end while everybody else was getting hired. All right. You do know that there are 9 NFL teams at large that needed head coaches this year. That's 9 defensive coordinators off the map right now. Okay. So what would you have the Niners do in the middle of a coaching frenzy when guys are getting snatched off the board, head coaches are getting teams where they're getting their staff together immediately? That's the first thing you got to have together once you get on a gig. What would you have the?
I don't know. I think you froze up there, boss man. I didn't hear that last question you asked. You're back. I got you.
Yeah. I still hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. What was your last question?
Mm-hmm.
I said,
what would you have the Niners do? I mean, I said, what would you have the Niners do?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's flying off the board.
You can't wait for Jim Schwartz. You cannot do that. I think that when I say I think there was a better option available, I think he was already on the staff. But you definitely cannot. They got lucky that they were able to bring Robert Saleh in, and Liam Cohen came in and swooped that Jacksonville Jaguars job at the last minute. Because if not, that would have been Robert Saleh's head coaching job in Jacksonville this year. And the 49ers would have been promoting Chris Cassera. Like they would have been left up a creek with no paddle at defensive coordinator if they hadn't gotten Robert Saleh at the last minute.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't, it all plays for me differently. If they would have waited out and that we would have got some random guy, or let's just say they would have waited all of this time. All right. So you like Gus Bradley, right?
No,
tell me,
I do like him, but
okay. Tell me what the narrative would have been had the Niners waited weeks and tell me what the response would be.
There we go. If the Niners waited weeks and what? I didn't hear that part.
Sign Gus Bradley. What would the response be?
I think that everybody. So this is the weird thing about this situation. There's a lot of people saying that this was lazy of Kyle Shanahan. He just hired one of his friends. It's a nepotism hire. But people would have been saying the same thing about Gus Bradley. If they would have hired Gus Bradley instead, everybody would have been saying the same thing. Oh, he's just being lazy. He doesn't actually want to be challenged. He didn't bring in a Raheem Mostert who could challenge him because they know each other. He didn't bring in a Schwartz who's actually someone that'll stand up to him. He just went with the guy that was already in the building. He's being lazy. It would have been exactly the same narrative even if they hired Gus Bradley.
Exactly. And not only that, but the nasty take would have been, I wonder how many guys told the Niners no before they finally went and got Gus Bradley. And the narrative would have been that Gus Bradley was a constellation prize. He wasn't who the Niners wanted, because if they wanted to, if they wanted him, they would have just got it over with, right? So it's even the timing in bringing in Raheem Morris. I like it. It looks like something that they put together where it's like, listen, I want to be a DC. This looks like a fit. I love what you guys have done. I think we could pick up and take off running with what we got. I love the young pieces you have now, but imagine Raheem Morris comes in and sees the young contingency that we have in on the defense, and he comes in and intelligently adds more. That's my biggest fear. I don't want to completely go to ground zero all the way up. And that's why I feel good with Raheem Morris coming in with the 34, because I don't think that Kyle will let him make a sweeping indictment of changing the defense. There's other coaches that I'd be interested to know what their roles are going to be once they come here. But if you think about it, is Raheem Morris going to bring in his own staff, or we're going to come in with keep the coaches that we already have?
Do you think that Raheem Morris is going to bring a 3-4 in?
Yeah, I think there's going to be elements of a 34 for sure.
I disagree entirely. I think they're going to stick with the wide 9. They're going to ask Raheem Mostert to coach their defense, and I think they're going to ask him to put his wrinkles in on the back end. They're going to ask him to, he can flavor it up any way he wants to on the back end with coverages, with different looks, rolling safeties after the snap. But outside of maybe adding some more stunts in games up front, I don't think they're going to touch the way they've been running their front seven.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be elements in packages.
And I'm so sorry.
I believe that you'll see that.
To answer the question that you asked me, sorry. If they don't change the front seven, they're not going to give up. Holland will still be here. Chris Kasarik will still be here. We already lost our defensive backs coach. So will they probably bring somebody in? Yes, but it's probably going to be Raheem Morris will probably spend a lot of his time with the defensive backs, which I love, by the way.
Yeah, I think that Raheem Morris is going to bring a different type of energy, and I'm excited to see how guys respond. So look, let's get into a little bit of hokey pokey here. Pause.
I love to chase rabbits down rabbit holes.
Before we do that, let's get into the last two super chats that we have right now. Too Much Sauce 33, $5. Thank you. Was Kay Adams critical enough during the interview? In my opinion, she was just glazing him the whole time.
Which interview?
I think the interview that she was talking about with Raheem Morris.
Okay.
Robbie Holland, 5,800. Thank you, Coach. Stop. If Tart catches the interception from Stafford, 49ers win in 2021. Remember? Yeah, but that was the defense. That was if Tart catches that, but we got to remember how we ended with Jimmy G shit in the bed at the end. We couldn't get anything going on offense. So you got to remember that game, man.
You also got to kind of let Aaron Donald, it didn't matter what play they called on that. Aaron Donald just annihilated all three people that tried to balk him on that play.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't ideal. So let's go ahead and say that. All right, man. Let's get into the substation stir up. Now, this is more your bag than it is mine. But let's take a trip on the wild side. The San Francisco 49ers have faced a series of injuries in recent seasons, leading to the speculation about potential causes. One theory suggests that an electrical substation near the team's practice facility might be contributing to these injuries. However, both the NFL and medical experts have found no scientific evidence supporting this claim. So, let's just go with some chronological stuff as of late. In 2026, in January this month, the theory emerged on social media linking the 49ers injury woes to the EMF, which is the electromagnetic fields emitted by an electric substation adjacent to their practice facility in Santa Clara. The theory proposed that prolonged exposure to EMF could lead to increased injury rates among players. Addressing this speculation, NFL Chief Medical Officer Dr. Alan Sills stated that there is no scientific evidence supporting a connection between EMF exposure and increased injury rates. He emphasizes that injury causation is faceted, involving factors such as training, methods, player history, equipment, and style of play. Sills also noted that claims suggesting the 49ers lead the league in non-contact lower extremity injuries are false. So look, John Lynch acknowledged it right after the season. He acknowledged confirming that the organization would investigate all
Breaking up again, boss man. Are you frozen? You're frozen on my end. So I'll jump in because I'm not sure. There we go. You're back now. Can you hear me? So I'll jump in real quick and see. There's a big part of the way that they are phrasing this, both from the NFL and from the 49ers, right? Everybody keeps using essentially the same phrase. There's no evidence linking the EMF, the substation, to injuries. And that is technically true. There is no direct link between electromagnetic frequencies and the injuries and things like that. However, there are indirect links. And this is what the players have been pointing out where is it here? Mr. Big Daddy Joe points out there was a scientist that Grant Cohn brought on the other day that explained this portion of it really, really well. I'll just kind of give a brief summary. Essentially, when the prolonged exposure to electromagnetic frequencies, one of the primary things it does, so let me back up a little. It breaks down things at the cellular level, right? So we're talking microbiology. Well, what does that have to do with a pulled groin or a snap tendon? What it does, one of the things it does primarily is it dehydrates the cell. Okay. When the cells are dehydrated, especially like the mitochondrial elements and things like that, it makes it so that the actual muscle tissues themselves are weaker. That's the point that they're trying to make as far as the connection that it has to injuries. Now, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know whether that's true, false. I don't know. But the fact is, there is no direct link from EMF to injuries. However, there are indirect links. And that's what's kind of being brought up by the players and by other people. To me, the bigger story here is not about the substation and the injuries. It's about how the 49ers are handling the situation, because it's real simple. If there's even some sort of indirect cause, if there's anything to this at all, it's real simple to do experiments. Have the players practice somewhere else for 2 years. And if the injuries clear up, I mean, just move the practice facilities. Like, if there's any chance that this is impacting your team, like, there's all sorts of ways that you can go about doing something about this. The fact that the 49ers were so flippant about it, the fact that the owner of the team was so flippant about it, it just kind of shows a disregard for the players, because this didn't start coming from the media the way a lot of these stories come out. This started with people reporting about the players having conversations about this thing. It came up, I think it was Chase Sr. was one of the first people, if not the first person, to bring it up. And one of the things that kind of made the story get some legs is that the players, right, were having the same conversations. The Harvard graduate fullback was having the same kind of conversations with people. When you have people like Christian McCaffrey, and you have guys like George Kittle who literally spend millions of dollars on their body doing everything they can, and they can't stay healthy, it makes you wonder. Now, does any of that mean that there's something to this? There might not be. But for the ownership to tell the rest of the league, all the free agent players that are out there, that they're not even going to take this seriously, that they're really not concerned, this is no big deal, when clearly the players think, at least some of them, think it's an issue. I mean, at least give it some lip service. At least explain, like, well, we've done this, we've done that, we've looked into it. We can't find any link. We can't find any justification as to why we would need to move the practice facility. Instead, you make some stupid comment about, well, it's been there since 1987, and Jerry Rice was pretty healthy, and all these other things. It's like, well, I understand that. But when you moved the stadium to Santa Clara, and the players, I mean, the injuries things started around the same time as when they moved the field, because all this stuff predates the Kyle Shanahan era. People forget they fired the entire strength and conditioning staff after the first couple of years and replaced everyone with like a guy from like the hockey league, because all of the injuries that they were getting, it didn't fix anything. We had one healthy year after that. So for him to basically make some stupid comments about the 1987, it like, that's nothing to do. It's 30 years ago, dude. What are we talking about? Just address it. Say, we've looked into it. We've talked to the scientists. The scientists say there's nothing to worry about. We're going to move forward with that information and end it. The way that they handled it was just, it was awful. It really was bad. So anyway, I don't want to get caught up on this too long. Coach should be back in here shortly, I hope. But yeah, it's just, the issue that I have primarily with this entire conversation is there are links. There just aren't direct links. So treat it like that. Stop trying to gaslight people. On the one side of the conversation, stop trying to gaslight people by saying, oh, there's clear evidence, when all of it is very indirect and there is no clear link. And on the other side of the conversation, stop trying to gaslight people and act like there's absolutely nothing there, when there's clearly evidence that shows an indirect link to the exact injuries that they're struggling from. They are not struggling from the kind of issues you would think. They're having lower leg, soft tissue injuries primarily. How many ACLs have been torn? How many people have tendonitis and issues with their ligaments in their Achilles tendon? Like, how many hamstring pulls? How many quad pulls? Like, that's what the majority of these injuries are. And that's what the evidence that is indirectly linked suggests. So don't treat it like nothing, but don't blow it up to me like it's everything as well. It's not the boogeyman. So, anyway, let me see if Coach is coming back real quick. I'm going to move on to the next topic for right now because Coach probably doesn't want me to linger on this too long. So the next thing that we wanted to get into is just kind of discussing who are some of the players that are not going to make the cut at the end of the season. We're getting ready to, in the next week or two, the players are going to sit down with the coaches if they haven't already, and the coaches are going to let them know you're not coming back next year, right? They don't wait, and at least as far as I know with the 49ers, they don't wait until 3 months from now to tell players they're going to be released. They let people know early, like you're not going to be coming back next year. So who are some of the players that might not be coming back? I know one of the players that Coach is thinking might not come back next year is Jair Brown, and so I'll let him explain that if he comes back in. The guy that I would point to, obviously, there's some obvious ones, right? With like Kyle Juszczyk. Is he going to come back, or are we going to do the same rodeo that we did last season, where he got cut and then got re-signed, which is maybe the dumbest like people talk about all the stupid contracts. You cut a guy, took a cap hit, and then re-signed him 3 days later so you could take another cap hit when you cut him this year. Dumbest contract. I know it's not for as much money, but it's worse than the Brandon Ayuk contract, in my opinion, as far as process goes. Now, it doesn't cost as much because the Brandon Ayuk deal is going to cost you a ton of money. Hey, he's back. There he is.
Listen, man, Jed heard me talking about the substation and he told me, he said, listen, I got something for your ass. Shut this shit down right now. I'm tired of talking about it. Look, the substation situation, fill me in, man. Like, I get it. I understand that the injuries precede.
So I'll do the short version because I just ranted about this while you were pretty much the entire time you were gone. So the short version is there's no clear direct link to the injuries. However, there's indirect links. I pointed people to the fact that Grant Cohn had a scientist on his show just the other day to sort of explain the science behind this stuff. And the science that leans to point towards the injuries is that the EMF frequencies create disruption in the cells, which then dehydrates the cells at the mitochondrial level, and that leads to tissues that are weaker. And so it leads to more soft tissue injuries. So there's an indirect connection that people have made. So when the league says there's no connection, what they're saying is there's no direct link. And that's true. But it doesn't mean that you should ignore the indirect links that are clearly available in medical journals, right? And then I went on to talk about Jed York being so flippant. What are your thoughts about Jed York just being so flippant about this and basically talking about, well, it's been there since 1987 and Jerry Rice was pretty healthy? Like, it just came off so bad to me. You're muted.
I hate to put it this way, but when you hear guys talk about the money, when you hear guys talk about situations like that, you have to think about the money.
Yeah.
If you're Jed York, what are you thinking about? You're thinking about liability. You're thinking about whose fault it is. You're thinking about past injuries. So many players whose careers never got off the ground due to injuries. There's a Jalen Hurd in there. There's a Kentavious Street in there. There's a Reuben Foster in there. There's tons of guys that could never stay healthy. Weston Richburg. I mean, God, we could go on and on.
Javon Kinlaw. Never got healthy as soon as he's gone.
On and on. Yes.
Right. Look at how many players had injury histories with the 49ers for year after year. They go to other teams and don't get hurt again.
Yeah. I mean,
there is evidence.
Okay. So this is what I don't want to do. I don't want to be disrespectful and say there's not, it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's not nothing. Okay.
It's probably nothing.
It's probably, I don't know, man. It does beg the question. One thing that I will say is that it's making us choose basically every option under the sun. I mean, one thing that is true is that we've had we've been remarkably injured as a franchise, and this precedes this regime. Like, I know we can put a lot of it on them right now because they're the name and face of it, but we've been historic. We were injured with Coach Harbaugh. We were injured,
right.
man.
And Tom Stewart. People forget this team got deconstructed after the Harbaugh era because primarily of injuries. Players that were not that old were retiring, like Patrick Willis and Smith. Those guys weren't 38, 37. Like Patrick Willis was what, like 31 or 32? And and Justin Smith was like 34. There's several guys that retired way earlier than you would think. Now, obviously, guys like Chris Borland, it was concussions, and Anthony Davis, it was mental health and stuff. But there's a comment I want you to put up real quick, if you wouldn't mind putting on the screen, from Austin K1998. It's about 6 or 7 back. So here's the thing about this. Says he has to lie. He needs players to sign with us. And this is why it actually doesn't make sense the way he handled it, because you're totally right. He needs players to sign with us. So to me, that would mean if it's me, I'm going to walk out there and say, listen, there's no safety issue here. We've done the research. We brought in the scientists. We spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in research to find out everything we could about this, because we take player safety and health seriously. And there is nothing available that would indicate to us that the injuries are being caused or affected in any way by the EMF. And you just do it directly like that. By being flippant about it and not considering it when your own players in your building are talking about it and talking to their friends around the league. It's just, no, what you have to do is provide a very clean, we looked into it. There's nothing there.
All right. So the reason why I hear what you're saying. And in a perfect world, that makes sense. But you got to look at them for what they're not doing as the reasons why they're doing what they're doing. They're very conscientious. They're smart. They understand these things more than we do, right? Sitting on YouTube yapping about this. And I say all that to say this. If Jed is not being full-throated, for lack of a better term, what you're saying, hey, this is exactly what's happening. Here are the milestones of our plan. We'll get back to you when we get to the 50, or we'll get back to you when we get to the halfway point of this to give you a sit rep on how this is going. And, we're going to be left with our options by this date. And, we got this guy investigating. This is his name. Dude, they're not going to be transparent like that. And number two, the reason why they're doing all that is because what if they fucking find something?
Exactly.
They just put themselves on the hook by talking about this stuff in an official way. So the way he brought it up is the way he wants it to die, casually. Can we please stop talking about this? How about the new jerseys for next year? He's ready to talk about anything but this, because there's nothing good that can come from this if I'm Jed, right? I understand from a fan standpoint, it's like, dude, if there's an inkling of a possibility that this could be affecting your players, you look into this, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like having a house, man, and being afraid of looking at that one leak from that pipe, and it's just like, dude,
I do not want to go open that cabinet.
This may turn into a $10,000 fucking job, bro.
Yep.
If I really delve into how bad this leak is, how far back it goes, where did it come from, and I don't think that's a problem. Quite frankly, Jed would never say this, but it's not that much of a problem for him to be wasting money on this. This could be a huge problem that it's like, now the Niners found something, they found a grain of rice of something, and now the Niners have to spend $40 million on research to figure out exactly how this happens. Right. Or on top of that, while all of that's happening, they're never going to stop playing football. I mean, we played football in the pandemic. That should let you know. Games will not stop. Okay? So that should let you know something right there.
Yeah.
So
Money train keeps rolling.
EMF be damned, okay? EMF, EPMD, whoever you want, dog. We playing, all right? So even if that happens, you get a scenario now where imagine if I'm Jed York and I've got to bus my team to a new location to practice, like everywhere. Like, bro, that's going to be so much money, more effort. It's going to affect
cars?
the team. Bro, I'm telling you, bro.
I'm with it. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I'm about
You're
to
totally
say, man,
right. There's a lot
half
of
the reason why
expenses
people
that
don't go to
into
the
it.
gym consistently is because they got to get in the car and go. There's people with gyms in their garage and they still don't go. Okay, any inconvenience is a detriment to the team. So let's get a couple of super chats out the way. I've
And then let's move on. We don't need to spend any more time.
definitely Herbie Holland $4.99. True or not, if there is a if there's a 0.0001% chance, just move the damn practice facility. Jed York is a joke. That's a lot of money, man. I don't think that the juice is worth the squeeze, to be honest with you.
Relative to a multi-billion-dollar franchise, putting a $5 million practice facility in the West parking lot they're not using, I'm sorry, but that's not a lot of money relatively.
Relatively, that's not a lot of money, but we don't know that that's the only thing that's going to get kicked up. Now, if there was a way that we could go in with a scalpel, right, and say, well, we're going to pluck out the team, kind of leave all these issues behind, and just kind of fix it with one fell swoop and put them over there, yeah, in a perfect world, okay. But not with everybody asking about this, with the NFL being involved. You got freaking doctors on YouTube weighing in on this. Like, dude, no, we need to stamp this out. You got to nip this shit in the bud. Like, I'm not even, if you don't acknowledge the problem, there is no problem. I think that's Jed's, that's his philosophy. Like, as soon as you acknowledge this shit, it falls on the one person that can do something about it, and that's Jed.
Yeah.
Right? So everybody else can talk about it. If I'm Jed, I'm gaslighting this to high heaven. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I don't understand what you mean. It is what it is. Herbie Holland, 5,800, thank you. They didn't even, I love the way you put didn't even. They didn't even practice there in 1987.
Correct.
Agreed.
So go back to that last super chat. You didn't actually read it. You clicked onto it, but you were talking about the.
Here we go. Yeah. So Scuba Pat, thank you so much. Scuba Pat $4.99. You can't sweep the substation under the rug. It's bad press for free agents and draft guys trying to join the team. This matters like the draft. It's got a shelf life. Nobody's going to be talking about the substation when the season gets going. Nobody's going to be talking about a substation as we get football keeps rounding up. Now, as injuries keep coming on, we're going to be more enthralled with rehab, how guys are playing, keeping guys healthy, who's going to be ready for camp, what injuries are we trying to stay away from in camp, what older veterans are taking their vet days right and being ready for the season. I'm telling you right now, every offseason, there's something that we get really, really fixated on, and we just don't let it go. And it's going to be this substation shit. I'm telling you.
That's probably correct. Bad press for the free agents and draft guys. That really depends on if the people behind the scenes think it's anything. If the NFLPA and the agents in the league all agree this is a nothing burger, there's no evidence, so on and so forth, it's not going to have any effect whatsoever on free agents because they're going to trust their agents.
Man, let me tell you something. These dudes don't even show up for players' meetings, man. Like, come on, bro. Like,
yeah.
I respect them, but to think that NFL players are weighing this, come on, dog.
There might be one. Like there might be one in the whole league but it's not going to be a thing. It's just not.
Man, you got to get these dudes to give a damn about their own legacy and show up. Come on. We got to stop Brandon Ayuk from speeding past the damn stadium at 100 miles an hour. Now he's going to start weighing in on the effects of electromagnetic fields. Like, come on.
Yeah. One of the dumbest things I've seen in a long time.
Beast mode. What are your thoughts on electromagnetic fields? Tell us. What do you think?
Over there popping Skittles.
Come on, man. Come on. Javon Kinlaw, sit down with me, sir. Regale me with your thoughts and studies of the substation, the electromagnetic fields. Obviously, you've been
Smashed a
studying this
whole
over
bowl
the
of
summer.
grapes.
Please let us know. Like, what are we doing, bro? And another thing, I'm tired of these other dudes on here with their bro science getting on here and giving their one-liners like, yo, it definitely is something. And, you know, they got to really look into it. It's like, bro, collect your check, catch it on YouTube 20 years from now. Somebody will do the work. Then we can all talk about it. But for now, let's just play ball. I think this is like along the effects of what drinking from water hoses did to kids in the 80s. Like, that's what this, I feel like that's the level of like hokum that we're on right now. Like,
Yeah.
would your life have been different if your mom didn't chain smoke? Like, dude, it was the times. It's what happened. Come on.
A lot of people were just fine.
Yeah, bro. It is what it is. All right. So let's get to the last super chat. Thanks for bringing that up. Blue Bronco 48, coach and Sharon Moore to coach our O-line. Yeah, listen, man. Coach Moore's my dog. He going through some stuff. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta, you know what I'm saying? Just gotta get some personal stuff together. As far as offensive line, though, he is class personified. You know what I'm saying? So Coach Sharon is pretty much one of the best offensive line coaches in the nation. So he would be a great addition. I don't know about Coach Forrester because as far as like knowing the game, knowing what to do, Coach Forrester's a very competent and good offensive line coach. But how much do you put the offensive line's performance on Coach Forrester or the fact that he really doesn't get a lot to work with?
Not
as
a
far
lot.
as blue
He
chip
gets the
guys.
bare minimum
So, I mean, I
on
don't know.
purpose. It's not like they give him the bare minimum because they just didn't do it. They do it on purpose. He's the most underrated coach on our team because he's the only coach on our team that literally gets the least amount of help as far as the resources that he's given. And every year, what did I say at the beginning of the season with you and Gammon? And Gammon ridiculed me for it. I said, everybody's going to freak out all offseason about our offensive line. We're going to do nothing about it. And at the end of the year, we're going to look up and it's going to kind of just be fine. It wasn't good, but it wasn't that bad either. Just sort of middle in the pack. Where are we right now today? How was our offensive line this year? It was fine. It had some bad moments. It had some decent moments. It's just kind of middle of the pack. They're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong. Go get.
They're going to
Linderbaum.
draft some guys
Go
this year
draft
for
a guy.
sure.
Like, please make me wrong, but I can't see them paying a lot of money in free agency for an offensive lineman, and I cannot see them using a top 50 pick, top 80 pick on an offensive lineman, and it's a tragedy.
I'm going to go against that.
I hope I'm wrong. I really do.
I think the 49ers do what they need to as far as bringing players in if they feel like they're close on certain things. I wouldn't put it past them that maybe they don't go draft the big left tackle that we're trying to replace Trent with. Maybe they trade
Caden
for
Proctor.
a guy, right? I don't know.
I know
He's
that's
a
your
little
dream.
too big. He's
He
a
might
little
be.
too big for
His
us. He's too
movement's
big.
not really. Yeah.
No. I don't have a problem with his athleticism.
Yeah. You think he can move good enough?
I think he's an athlete.
Okay.
I like Caden Proctor. I would love to see him 20 pounds lighter.
Yeah. He's a
Right?
monster.
He'd be unreal if he was 25
We're chasing
pounds
rabbits.
lighter.
We got time for this all season. I brought up Caden Proctor. I got coach started. That's my bad.
All I'm saying is that I just don't think
me.
I don't think that it matches. He matches our style. I don't think Kyle would. Kyle likes a lot of athleticism, especially at that tackle spot. I don't think he can pull it off. But he's a can't miss guy, man. He'll be a guy that we'll see playing on another team where they're running. He's built for the Eagles.
Oh yeah. Yes, he is.
The Eagles.
It's so unfortunate if he makes it
Come
that
on,
far in the
man.
draft.
The Chiefs may get him.
But both of those teams absolutely will draft him. I didn't even think about the
that's-
Chiefs. Why'd you do
That's
that?
gonna
You just ruined this whole show by bringing that up.
because he's a Chiefs guy. He looks.
Yes,
Yo,
he does.
Andy, man,
That's-
Andy,
yeah, and
Andy ain't afraid, bro.
He's not
Andy will
getting
go
past the
get him.
Chiefs.
Yeah. Quick one, real quick before we go. Give me your position and give me your dream guy in the first round. We're gonna geek out real quick on draft. Give me your
Okay.
position. Who do we need in the first round? And we pick a what, 26?
I think so. 26, 27.
26, 27. Give me your position and give me your dream guy. Go.
So I'm not going to give you a dream guy. I haven't done enough legwork yet. I will say this. The one thing I absolutely hope the 49ers do not do is draft a safety at all. Now, the other
hear
side
you
of
saying that, man. All right,
the
go.
other side of that is in the first and second round, there are only 3 positions available the 49ers should be drafting, in my opinion. Outside,
Right.
wide receiver, corner, and offensive line. I don't want to see the first 4 picks should be at those 3 positions. Double up somewhere. Unless
wide receiver, offensive line, and where else?
and corner. Unless
All right.
if your top tight end target falls to you at 26, you take him.
There's only one tight end that's
Yes, sir.
worth
I don't think he'll
a
I don't
first
think
round
he'll
pick
get that
this
far.
year.
But if he
Yeah,
falls to
that's the kid out of
26,
Oregon.
Yeah. If Shadik is there at 26, you run the card in.
All right. Me?
Who's your guy?
I think that we need to get back to Niners football, which is, I love it when the offense is clicking, but we're a defensively led team.
You're gonna say defensive lineman. I hate you.
We need a tackle. We need a D tackle. We need another D tackle, bro.
You think so?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Right, here goes your no safety in the first round. But I got you. I'm gonna give it to you right now. Peter Woods out of Clemson, dog. Hey, son.
I know.
Peter Woods is the
He's a
truth.
stud.
We won't get him. But it's Peter Woods is like Walter Nolan with a little bit more intuitive nature in his game. Like he actually knows what he's doing on the field. He's just not all raw powered. His first step is ridiculous. He's an inside guy and an outside guy. You could put him on the outside in the 34. You can bump him down on the inside when we run the 43. He's got strong hands, good base. He's 6'3", 315. He runs a 4.7 40, squat 700 pounds. Peter Woods, man.
That's wild.
Look up Peter Woods. Hey, listen, I'm gonna leave you with that.
I haven't gotten to him yet. You put that in the chat the other day. I haven't gotten to him yet.
Yeah,
So I gotta respond to my guy Tom real fast. So a couple things. One, Derwin James is not in this draft. 2, I did say don't draft safety, draft a line instead. What I'm getting at is there's 4 or 5 positions where you can get a blue chip player that has a huge impact on this team. Drafting a young safety as opposed to going and get a veteran just restarts the cycle of having to develop a new young guy. We have young guys on the team we need to develop. We should use those resources in areas where we actually need the young guy that needs to come in and develop instead of starting the cycle over with another safety.
I don't think this is my thing. You know, one of the topics we didn't get to, which is guys that are on the chopping block that we think are on the chopping block.
I got time. You got 10 minutes?
I got 10 minutes. I got one guy. Let's just go one guy a piece.
Sure.
But
Okay.
my one guy kind of bleeds into
I
this
foreshadowed
topic.
this a little earlier
Yes,
while you were
it kind of
blanking.
It kind of segues into this topic that you're talking about with Tom, which is I think that Jair Brown is a possibility that he may get cut. He may get shown his walking papers. And I'm gonna tell you this right now. The guys that we have right now in Siegel and Malik Mustafa. I know you keep saying that the guys are young. We need to stop reeing up at the position and get older guys. Bro, we need to get younger. We need to get younger, man.
Not at safety.
And Dog, Malik Mustafa's going into his third year. Marquise Siegel will be going into his second year. These guys have played meaningful snaps. Dude, there are certain positions. Every position ain't quarterback, man. Like, either you're a safety or you're not. Like, and we're not going to find that out by keeping training wheels on you into your third and fourth season in the league. And then when we finally have to rely on you, if you're a glorified dime linebacker, it's like, bro, either these guys either elevate or evacuate. So yeah, the only reason why you evacuate is not till you fall on your contingency plan that you're overpaying and he's old and he's really not a starter in the league. He's just a starter because you're playing him with a bunch of young guys. But what you do is you create that natural competition on the roster where that guy that you get that's meaningful in the draft that you have to get going because you used a pick on him, he's the next man up, right? We didn't get rid of Quan Alexander with another veteran. We got rid of Quan Alexander with a draft pick. We got rid of Quan Alexander with Fred Warner.
He was
32, that's how that
not
happened.
25.
I'm just saying though, you understand where I'm coming from though. Like the
I
same
totally
thing that happened with Dre Greenlaw.
I disagree.
So Dre Green, when Quan Alexander got here and he got demoted, the only reason what got him really out of here was the emergence of Dre Greenlaw.
That's right.
He literally had no place on the field anymore.
Yeah. That's
what you want to see on the team. But that doesn't happen if you don't keep infusing the roster with young guys. We can't keep. I'm going to tell you this. By your thinking, we're letting them off the hook from hurrying this thing up and building a new team. If we keep letting them get guys that they can trust, the Jason Pinnock's, right? If we keep letting them bring these guys in, all right, we're never going to get where we need to be.
Well, remember, I said I don't want to use premium picks on that. So I said don't draft a safety, and then I said in the first like 4 picks, only draft these positions. That's kind of what I was trying to get at. If we draft a safety in the 6th round who's got a ton of athletic ability to come in and try to push these other guys, I don't want to use premium picks on a position where we already have guys that haven't had a – Marquise Siegel is a rookie this year. He played – well at times, but super inconsistent, got benched. He sat behind Jair Brown for the next 6 or 8 weeks or whatever it was. When he came back in because Jair Brown got hurt, he played way more consistently. I'd like to see what that looks like next year. And Malik Mustafa has had some injury stuff that has stunted his growth. You're bringing in a defensive coordinator who's a defensive back specialist. You've got 2 young guys who show a lot of promise. If Raheem Morris can get these guys on the same page, you have a dynamic safety duo for the next several years. I don't want to spend early draft capital when our wide receiver core is arguably the worst in the league this year. We need offensive line help. We could definitely use another blue chip defensive lineman if there's one available. We could use a second tight end. There's 5 other positions that come up first before safety. I don't want to use draft capital on safety. Go get a Tyshawn Gibson. Obviously Gibson's retired, but like go get a Tyshawn Gibson and get that to add to your safety room instead of another young guy that's going to take 2 years to develop.
All right, so basically you saying that Marquis, you don't think that Malik Mustafa is developing?
No,
this will be his 3rd year.
So I think that we should see a significant leap from year 2 to year 3. I think he should be given that opportunity to make that leap. I think we've already seen a huge impact with Marquise Siegel in just his first season. I absolutely think he's going to make a leap in the offseason. If either of those guys makes a leap and the other guy just plays as well, you've got a really good – that's why he plays safety and not corner or wide receiver, okay?
Hey,
he doesn't have T-Rex legs, baby. That man can run. I love Tom. That dude's hilarious.
He said he got T-Rex off. Look, part of the T-Rex effect, all right? We call it like the Tyrannosaurus dilemma, okay? Is Marquise Siegel is out of position sometimes, and he hasn't necessarily got down the flow of playing kind of like ball me you, right? And he gets behind defenders a lot. He's in phase, but he's just depth is all off. And sometimes he's just been flat out confused out there. On top of the fact that he's been singled out. There were times during the season where multiple games, Upton Stout was getting singled out, Marquise Siegel was getting singled out, and the problem isn't that these guys are bad players or that these guys were getting exploited. It was the fact that we really didn't have anything to combat it, to adjust to it. You know, there was a lot of times where offenses kind of locked our defense into certain iterations of itself, being having Marquise Siegel as the down safety in the box, or having Upton Stout locked onto a man-on situation with the slot receivers, and they've been exploited. And when you don't have depth and you got to stay in something so you don't get scored on, you have offenses that, you know, they're talented enough and savvy enough to create mismatches. I'm okay with Marquise Siegel. I will say that there were some concerns about him. What I'm thrilled about is Malik Mustafa being able to start as fast as he did and then be able to finish the season healthy so he gets a full off season to develop.
That's right.
I'll tell you this. When did we don't, I understand you not wanting to draft high on safety. I get it. But if there's a true game changer up there, go get him.
Well, that's part of the analysis too. I don't think that there's no Derwin James in this draft.
True. All right, man. So let's close with this. I already gave my guy we should cut. I said Jair Brown, since we're talking about safeties. I do believe that if you can go ahead and go get a Malik Mustafa in the later rounds of the draft, you can find a Marquise Siegel like we did last year.
That's right.
Then guys like Jair Brown, I do believe that he gets a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt because he was our glorified first round pick when we got him. But I don't know. I think that Jair Brown he's just inconsistent, man. He's too inconsistent. So that's kind of like my leading candidate for getting chopped. Of course, we saw some names in the chat. I don't think you're gonna go. These were low hanging fruit, so I'm okay with saying these before you give me yours. But Yeturgos Matos, I think that he's definitely a candidate to get axed as well as Jordan Elliott. But go ahead, the floor is yours.
I'm going to take some more low hanging fruit and say Juwan Jennings. I don't think
Jennings?
49ers, I don't think he's going to get 20 plus.
Oh, yeah. Ho. I'm sorry. You are tripping. Caleb Downs is Derwin.
He's not
You're
a safety.
Tripping. Caleb Downs isn't a safety?
I thought he's a corner.
Stop playing with me.
My bad.
Go ahead, man.
I'm
ashamed. I'm ashamed that I didn't say Caleb Downs when you said it because Caleb Downs is a Bama dude.
I 100%. I don't know why I had it in my head that he's a corner. I will correct my thinking immediately if he's a safety.
Caleb Downs is a top 5 pick
because he absolutely is, and he's not going to be available when we're picking. So my point does still hold, but I stand corrected. If he's I was thinking of him as a corner, so that's my mistake. If he's a safety, he's 100% that dude.
Yeah, dude, Caleb Downs is not a safety. Caleb Downs is the safety.
The safety. He's a
difference.
monster.
Yeah, he's a generational talent
totally.
at the position. All right, so go ahead. Give me your guy who to let go.
Juwan.
Talk to me about why you want this.
No, it's not about that I want it. I don't want the 49ers to pay more than 15 or 16 million for him. He's going to be your third wide receiver because they're absolutely going to draft a guy this year. So I think that you can't pay $24 million to a guy that might be your fourth option in the offense, fifth option in the offense when we're playing next year. So sorry, I love Juwan, and he's critical to the third down efficiency that we had this year. He's gone.
I don't know. I want to disagree with you, but one thing that I will tell you is that we only got a taste of it this last offseason. I think this season we'll really see the effects. And this is a shift. It was subtle, and a lot of people don't really understand it, but Parag Marath is in the building, baby. Okay? Like, Kyle and John are not closing out these contracts anymore. They are not letting these guys mix up their relationships in these negotiation deals. These guys are not being able to cozy up to the head coach before they walk upstairs to kind of get a special little pat on the head from Kyle or John. right now we're in the Moneyball era. Somebody, yeah, there we go. Howdy just said it. We're in the Moneyball era,
That's right.
dude. So
We
there's going to be a
had too
lot.
many bad contracts that bloated our resources. We spent more
We,
cash than any team in football.
dude,
Jed noticed.
we deserve the money game era. So look, and I understand that this is a question: who's going to block the run game? Pearsall, I get it. Jawan Jennings is physical, but you're right. I think that he wants anything. I think his floor is 20. I heard he was asking for 22.
Yeah.
So
I'm not paying
that's
a
too
guy
rich for our blood.
22 million when his best skill set should be a secondary asset for his position. The best thing he does is run block. He's a better at run blocking than he is at pass catching sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
He takes guys to the coolers. And you know, he's an effective third down receiver. He's an effective big slot receiver. He is not the kind of guy that makes a team rethink their defensive strategy. And I'm not paying 20 plus million for a guy who's going to get the ball 35 times because he's the fourth option in our offense.
Hey, man, let's get these super chats out of the way. Frisco Shields, $4.99. Morris operates an attacking, blitzing defense. He's an entirely different style from the wide nine. I agree. Scuba Pat, $4.99. For this 34, we think Morris is going to run. Do we have a real nose, a real two-gap stud? No, we would have to go get one. We'd have to go get one. And I think that, I mean, it could be Alfred Collins. I mean, he that's what he did for Texas.
He has the ability, yeah.
He was their guy. He was their run-stopping nose tackle guy. He was their middle of the pack
CJ West
guy.
is also a stout dude. That, I mean, we do have some guys that can.
Yeah, we got some guys that can, but there would be some guys that we're going to have to bring in. Also, you know, there's going to be some guys where their roles are going to change with Raheem Morris on this defense as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who likes the Raheem Morris hire, who doesn't. Because one thing about this defense is that they're really big on what the guys like, right? That's a huge thing. That's half the reason why Coach Wilkes got ousted and scapegoated out of here. So look, and it's why Nick Sorensen was here on the flip side, which was also a disaster. So look, we'll see exactly who's going to fit in or get in. Steve Lewis, 114, $5. Thank you. Is our long tenured core lacking a little bit of melanin? It's somewhat giving White Boys Club 85, 44, 23, and 13. Dude, those are the blackest people on the team. You're blind. Frisco Shields, $4.99. The Niners need to play their rookies, and Kyle still hasn't played Cowings and Watkins. No receivers. Those are guys that are going to be looking to play next year. If Watkins doesn't get on the field next year, that's a bust pick. You got to get on the field 2 years in a row.
Cowing
that's wild.
Too.
Cowing as well. They got to do something. Well,
he was the fifth. Watkins is, I think, in the third, right? Or was he?
Yeah, I think Cowing is kind of grasping at straws a little bit. That's kind of like us wanting Danny Gray to get it going. It wasn't a lot of investment there to begin with, but Watkins is big, man. I'm kind of disappointed that he wasn't that much of a fixture in the offense. Herbie Allen, 5,800. You know what helps a young secondary? A damn pass rush, definitely.
Say it again, Herbie. Say it again, Herbie.
Herbie's our dog, man. Look, what do you got coming up for the rest of the week, brother?
So I'm putting together an entire offseason slate. I'm going to get this thing rolling, but I also just started a new job, so I can't spend too much time geeking out in the offseason, unfortunately.
I'm not mad at you either, man. Yo, we're going to get going, me, you, and Tom. We got to get another 3-point stance going. Yeah. We got to get ready for this live watch show at the end of the week for the Super Bowl. I don't know, man. It just feels weird calling the Super Bowl in our own crib. It's going to be a weird Seahawks. One. I'm still deliberating on whether or not I'm going to do the live watch show party, but I definitely let you guys know between here and now. Between here and then. This is the coach signing off. Stay low and keep your feet moving. Holla at you guys.